Today I wanted to talk about a book called System Design Interview by Alex. So somebody recommended this book as an architect, I wanted to understand how the current applications are currently working, how did they design it, small applications till enterprise level applications and in the public domain applications. How did they design, how do we scale up? So when I was reading all certain books, so this is the one book which I really interested in, shown my interest. And when I'm going through it, it's really interesting, and I strongly recommend this book. Whoever is looking for career in design, solutioning the for solutioning as well as designing the providing the solutions for any problem, not only for the small ones. It's an enterprise level problem solutions. Okay, this is the got two versions of this book, and latest is the second edition. You can find this book looks like this, the front page. It talks about DNS, talks about database, web, cloud, everything about it. So a lot due to this violation of the data. So I don't get inside what did they mention about it. But you can see these are the 16 chapters the author explained in detail about all the designs, 16 designs. You can go through it. One, I can give you an example of this scale from zero to millions of users. This is simple everywhere, in the day-to-day life also you can see this kind of problem. So you have one user or 10 users or 100 users max. You design for such a level of application. But what you need to do so that the same service, same application, which handles millions of users per day, per hour, per second. How do we do that? How do we scale it? To scale up to certain level of many number of users. So what are the things we need to as a design architecture as an architect? So what are the things you're going to include that? So the author explains in detail about the DNS, private IP, load balancer, horizontal versus vertical scaling, cache, databases, database replica. I mean, he clearly explained about the database replicas, like what is a master DB, what is a slave DBs, and backup plan for that. So if there is a slave DB, which is for one master DB, the data can be replicated into more than one slave DBs. So what happens if the master DB itself goes offline? Okay, and even explains about the Redis cache, the cache related and sticky sessions. So what is a sticky session, when do you use that, and what happens if this web server in one location, the content in one geography, there is some kind of bad happens. So how do we recover that? So if there are you are going to replicate the your application into two separate geographies, so how does the session takes place? So where do you save the session? How do you retrieve it? What happens if the session itself, the server itself goes down? So it will, this author explained each and every minute detail about a scaling from a zero to millions of users. So if you want to be learn about all this, how the system is working, Amazon is working, so you can just go through it. You'll understand about how did they design, what's the internal infrastructure about a solution of one system. The same way he explained about the rate limiter. So how do we? I'll not go to the details about it. He explains about what is the psychological story about chapter 3. Chapter 4 is about the rate limiter, something like uh, even Twitter, like it will not allow you more than 300 tweets per a minute or per 1 hour, not more than certain number of tweets per day. Even YouTube also there is some kind of a blockage, like you cannot upload certain, not more than certain number of videos. So those are the limit. So how do we handle that limit? And even sometimes, even I don't want to accept like not more than 6 requests per day for one particular IP address. So how do we limit that? So what are all the cases you need to handle it? You need to think about it to limit that particular number of rates. Key value story explains about the databases, the NoSQL databases. So there's so many items actually. You can see the URL shortener, web crawler, a news feed, chat system. A detailed explained about the YouTube design. So how many videos they are uploading it, how many number of users are there, on an average, like how much data is getting going to be uploaded, right? So what's the number of users they are going to use it? How do we streaming it? So all the details which is clearly explained about it. So I strongly recommend you go through it each and everything in detail about it, and let me know if you want me to uh, give a high level of each and every chapter. I can give a try and I can send me let you know the details. So if you need more information about this book and where do you download it, or like give some more details about it, please send me an email about to this .NET@technologies@gmail.com. I'll try to give you more information about it. Thank you.